So that brings me to point number 1, the 11 steps to cultivating this intuition and this soul or psychic connection. Number 1 is be still. Any tradition that's worth anything, and they all are worth something out there, has this as a core of the tradition, that be still and know I am. Know that I am. How can we know our true self unless we allow ourselves to align with the same qualities that this true self has? That it's not all about the hype or the commotion. It's about being centered. You know, you're the point on the wheel. Everything revolves around this, but you're still. And that's the truth of you. In some of the alchemical ancient literature and things, there's a symbol to signify who you truly are, and it's a circle with a dot in the middle. And that we are that center. We are the eye of the hurricane, the tumult, no matter how tumultuous it is. And how better to be the eye of the storm of life, or whatever it is that needs the purifying of your perception to show up to. What better way to go through life than with that centeredness in stillness, while you can then embrace and walk into all kinds of circumstances, completely wonderfully adventuresome or even tragic or chaotic, and feel that you're connected to something more. That's exactly how to be in the world and not of it. So this first one, be still. There are several techniques and ways to do that. And again, most traditions have this way. You sit still and meditate. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean closing your eyes and sitting in a room until you're completely quiet, but that is definitely a wonderful way to connect to the self. You can also do this by walking in nature, or by the ocean, you know, get out and paddle. Let yourself connect more deeply with the environment around you. And that might just even be walking down a city street, but without an agenda, you know, with multitudes of people around you with no agenda, and just observing. There's a way to be in the world, but not of it. And that is be still and know that I am, even when you choose to be active. But I highly, anyone who knows me, I highly recommend meditation, because I can speak all the words in the world, but this is for you to experience firsthand. And the fastest route that I know is to do nothing, to do meditation. The fastest way to get to firsthand experience of all of these powerful, amazing capacities and tendencies that lend us to be in alignment with the miraculous is to be still. Because your true self knows exactly what best path you have. And it might be the middle of being an emergency room doctor, but being, you know, before you get in there, you're able to just be still and quiet. And then in the midst of that, you're watching yourself in an orchestration of life that is so enlivening and awakening that that's your path. Or it might be you working with little children or babies, or it might be you in a classroom, or it might be you walking in the woods. It might be you in nature. It might be you as a healer. You know specifically what you chose to do this lifetime that resonates most deeply with joy for you, that resonates most deeply with love for you, with connectivity for you, with that voice of the soul for you. And listening to it, it's never going to berate you for making choices that might be out of alignment with that. That's the one thing that you want to know, is you'll never find this voice being unkind or unloving or misunderstanding. It always has your best interest in mind. It is the voice of your own best interest. Not to cultivate a tangible, definite relationship with this is tragic. It's the truest and really only tragedy of the world, because otherwise we don't see tragedy out there. Connected to this voice, we get to see the world renewed. Essentially, it has eyes that are so full of light and so completely aware that everything is renewed when we're connected to this. So letting ourselves sit back and meditate and be still is essential. to our connectivity with this, because it's not going to be in your face. It's the still small voice. At first it's still and small, and again, it's like if you were learning how to play the piano or bang away on the piano, all you're seeing is the superficial parts of it. The more deeply you go into studying this and playing this piano all the time, and the way to being a concert pianist, if you chose to be someone who did things with these psychic capacities and miraculous tendencies with your life, that would mean you'd have to practice daily and be involved in this kind of way of associating with yourself daily. And that's all it takes. That's the only thing, is the focus and the intention. The rest of the capacity is already there. But look at it again. Like, would you want to put in the amount of timeless time and energy that it would take to be someone who's absolutely aligned this way, to the degree that you could be masterful, like Jesus, who says, you know, you're just like me. If you don't believe it, I'll wait. So what are we waiting for is the question. We can do this. We can be someone who has these tendencies. So number one, be still. I want to go a little bit on an important sidetrack here about why this is so important. That when you are still and you begin to see yourself as abiding in the light, and you begin to see yourself as getting more done, that's more important, while you're doing nothing, then you start to usurp the ego. The ego is going to tell you, get up and do something. Okay, great. It's fine to be in stillness, but do something with this. It's going to tell you to take some kind of action that's not based on peace. And that is not really doing anything for anybody in the planet except for moving things around in the illusion. So when you start to allow yourself to transcend that voice of the ego that's going to say, get up and go and do something, or this is uncomfortable, or your leg's falling asleep, or the things that happen in meditation or while you're walking in nature and it's telling you to get back to work. When you can transcend, or just like laugh at that voice and say, haha, that's its job. It always does that. It's the voice of separation. It's always doing the same old thing. Kind of boring and now very predictable. But when I go to the inner voice, you open up worlds, literally, that are new and fascinating. And what it does as you walk out into the world connected to this is so fulfilling and so amazing and so profound that it makes us want to actually be here on earth, and even around things that don't necessarily feel comfortable or happy, just because we know if we could stay in this space and even just shine and do nothing, then that world is not formidable. This is formidable. This will renew that world no matter what. Even if you just show up smiling, connected to this self, this soul, this light of us, you're going to shine away the darkness. So really powerful and profound.